Okay, Yud Zion Amid Base Itmar Habalismuch B'tzad HaMeitzar. So you're coming to the boundary, and we said you have to be marchik three tefachim. Abayee Amar Somech, Rava Amar Eina Somech. So at this point, Abayee is saying that I don't care about the Mishnah. Yeah, I can just go all the way up to the Meitzar. I can put my bore right there. I don't need to be marchik 3 tefachim. And Rava says, no, look at the Mishnah, you can't be Somech. Okay, now whenever we have a maklokas Abayee and Rava, halacha is like a Rava except for 6 cases. Ye'al Kagam. This is not one of them. So at this stage, we're just going to go like Rava, we're going to like the Mishnah, Hakol Toif. Besada Asuya Lebayru is never Hakol Eina Somech. So where you're expecting the other person on the other side of the border to put a bore, so there everybody agrees that you cannot be Somech. Rashi, so Habal Lismoch Bayro Techilo B'tzad HaMeitzar L'chavero Ein Sham Bor. So Rashi is saying that when you're coming to come, the other guy doesn't have a bore there. So you're coming to do something and there's no bore on the other side. Again, we had Maklokas Rashi Toys. Rashi says that the mazik, if you put in a bore there, is that you're weakening the karka. Toys says that when you put the water in, that water weakens the bore, whatever that moisture is doing. So there's no bore there. Should you be able to Somech or not? So there's a question. So there's a question, right? If there's no nizak, can you be a mazik? So since there's no bore on the other side, then you're not a mazik right now. Therefore, you shouldn't have to be marchik. That's the chayra, the pasha pshat. Why can't you do it? So at this point, you're saying that Abayee makes sense and Rava doesn't. Now, what does asiya lebayrus mean? Could go on beisa shlachim setzrichim lahakshus tadir. So you have types of fields that the fields that are naturally irrigated. I don't know if you're living in Mitzrayim and you have the Nile going through your fields. You don't need a bore because the bore, they get water from the bore. So if you have a grain field, so again, different fields. If you have like different trees or whatever, you just leave them in the garden and then they just grow by themselves. You don't have to go and water them. But if you're having plants and that type of stuff, whatever it is, some stuff needs to be watered. And that stuff that needs to be watered has no water source. You dig a bore in it. So a sada that's a suya lebayrus is a sada that is having stuff growing in it that needs to have constant water, and there's no natural water source. So you will dig a bore there. There's nothing. You will dig a bore. And once you have one, do you need a second one? Kind of, I guess, depends on the agricultural at the time and place.
Right. So even though you don't currently have a bore, you're going to in the future.
So this is where it's breaking it down. So, besada suya lebayrus. So a sada that will have a bore, it will be there in the future. Divrei hakol eina somech. So since it's going to be there in the future, the pashtus, since it's going to be there in the future, so therefore you can't do it now because you will be mazakim in the future. Now, what does that mean? You'll be mazakim in the future. Seemingly, again, according to Rashi, you've weakened the ground, and now I try to dig a bore. I don't know, the whole thing comes apart or something. Or according to Tosfos, I've got the water there, it's destroying the ground, and now when you try to dig a bore, you need to distance whatever, otherwise your bore will just fall to pieces or whatever happens. So I'm damaging in the future. So they'll agree there that you, like our Mishnah, Eina Somech, ki pligi b'sadeh she'eina suya lebayrus. So a sadeh that's not done for the boys, therefore you don't expect him to have it on the other side. So therefore, you should be Somech, like Abayee Amar Somech, the ha'eina suya lebayrus. You can be Somech because it's not made for players. Rava Amar Eina Somech. It's not Somech. This is the Kiddush. The Amar Lei Ki Hechi Da'at Imlach V'Chafarta. Just like you don't have a field that's supposed to be putting bores in, and you just decided to put a bore. So too, I have a field that I don't have. I'll just decide to put a bore. And Anami Mamlach V'Chafrana. So I will also just change my mind and do it. So no other Rashis here. So this first Tosfos was going on our section. So Abayee Amar Somech the ha'ena suya lebayrus v'hoyel v'kein eina mazik lo imhu Somech. So Tosis here is speaking at the issue that since there's no nizak, you can't be a mazik. So the Tosis is saying here, Hoil v'kain, since it's not done for boilers, Eino mazik. He's not a mazik law. Imhu Somech. So he goes all the way to the border. He's not being a mazik because there is no nizak. V'kasha l'rashba. The ha mafsid hu. Now it's a bit of a. I'm having issues here exactly what the hefsed is. She'im yito ilan yistarek laharko yoiter machmus shesomach ze ad hametzar. So we've seen again in the end that you have to plant, according to the Rabbanan, you plant a tree 25 away from the bore. And therefore, since you put the bore in the metzar, you got to put the tree all the way from the bore. Now, there's a couple of ways to learn this. The first way would be he should have gone in 3 tefachim, and therefore I can move my tree 24 and a half amos, which doesn't really make such a difference. So with such a percentage difference, so that movement of like 2% is not much. Or you'll learn that if he put the bore in the middle of his field, then, and let's say there's 10 amos to the metzar, then you only have to plant your tree 15 amos from the metzar, saving yourself 10 amos. So he's come his bore all the way close to your metzar, therefore he's mazik you. I put his bore as close as he can, because now you've got to go as far away from the bore as possible. That's because the Rashba, that because he could have gone into his own place, if he's again in the middle, if he's 10 amos away from the border, or even 20 amos away from the border, now you've only got to go 5 amos into your rishus to plant your tree. So the marchikin ha'ilan min abor chamesh ve'esrim amma, so 25 amos. So v'yesh loimer d'mikomokim eina oiser lo hezek. So that's not called a hezek by putting the bore on the metzar. Why not? Ha mar de marchik yoiter lo mipnei shelo yizakenu. That the fact that he has to distance himself, it's not that he doesn't get. Why is the elan far from the bore? It's not that the tree is not going to get damaged by the bore. The bore isn't causing the damage to the tree. That's why you got to take the tree away. Ela mipnei shelo yazik hu labor. That since the bore is the nizak, it's not the mazik, and the tree is the mazik, it's not the nizak. Therefore, you have to distance the mazik from the nizak. V'lahachi ein lezeh lahaniach mi lesomoch. And therefore the other guy, even though he's causing him to put his tree far away, since he's the nizak and not the mazik, that's not enough of a reason for him to not be Somech, for him to change his rishus, because again we saw that really we're trying to use our rishus as normal as possible. So it's normal use to put the bore. I'm putting bores here, you want to put the tree, that's up to you. So the tree, so the bore, I can put the bore in my rishus. I don't have to restrict my usage of my rishus because of your tree, because I'm not damaging your tree. It's not enough of a reason lahaniach milismok, to stop me from putting Somech for this. Kach de'im lo kein yarchek kol 25 amos is bora. How do I know this is true? Because if that's true, then put your tree on the metzar, and then I just have to put my bore 25 away from the tree. So we see that's not the halacha. So therefore, this isn't the then the din isn't the din's on the tree to be marchik because you're the mazik, and therefore I'm not causing a damage to you by putting the bore on this on the edge. Now all this is a bit theoretical. So if we go back in the Gemara. There's an Ika Amri. Now, when there's an Ika Amri, the Pashtus is that we paskin like the second Loshen. So we want to look at basically Rava in the second Loshen. And the first Loshen is a bit less, again, it's theoretical. So Ika Amri, again, also in Bang, we got the little ladder here. So Besada She'ena Suis Lepoiros, Devri HaKol Somech. So again, so far we have Abayee and Rava in the first case, and now we have a second Abayee and Rava. Sorry, we have Abayee. Yeah, we have Abayee Rava. We have four in the first case. Abayee in a Sadesu Leboiros, Abayee Sadeshenashi Leboiros, Rava Sadesu. That's so much, and then we have 8 here. So you can make your own graphs and all that type of stuff. Sure, ArtScroll will make it for you if you pay them enough. So besada she'ena suyas leboris ever hakol Somech. So that the sada that's not shibras, he can go straight up to the Meitzah. That's what everyone's saying. Everyone's happy with that. Ki pligi. Where do they argue? Besada suyas leboris. When you have a sada suyas leboris, so but so again, this was everyone agrees you're not allowed to be Somech. So here they're arguing again. This is the lashon al pi halacha. So everyone's Somech up to this point. Abayee Amar Somech. So Abayee is Somech across the board, even though in the first lashon by the sada suyas leboris. Called Eina Somech. So we have one case of Abayee Eina Somech, but here in the second lashon Abayee Somech everywhere. Ki pligi b'sadei sui leporis Abayee Somech. V'filo l'Rabbanan. Now here, Abayee makes it a bit easier because rather than having to go through Abayee and Rava in each case according to the Rabbanan, according to Rabbi Yossi, Abayee says, but I'm not getting involved in that. Mark Locus, everyone agrees with me. Afilo l'Rabbanan. So why are you Somech? Afilo l'Rabbanan to Amri marchichin esa ilam in a bor. So therefore the Rabbanan is saying don't be Somech. Hasamhu de beidna de kanata ita labor. So again the Rabbanan say distance from the bore. So if the bore is not there, plant your tree right on the border. That's not so good with the Rabbanan. So the Rabbanan will say Somech because again you're not expecting the bore to be there. So sorry, sadei sui laboris. When the bore is not there, you can still put your tree all the way there. Aval haka beidna de kachofer. Hasam nata is labor. Vahaka at the time when you were digging lisa labor. So you're digging your bore. There's no bore there. So therefore the Rabbanan are going to agree here because Abayee is saying the Rabbanan are only in the case of where there's a bore already in the field and then you have to distance your tree from the bore. There's no bore, you can put your tree all the way there. So therefore Abayee holds that that the Rabbanan would hold that you can be Somech, and obviously Rabbi Yossi, who holds you can plant the tree there anyway, so then he'd be moida here that you can be Somech when there's nothing there. Now Rava Amar Eina Somech, and Nefila Rabbi Yossi. So again, Nefila Rabbi Yossi meaning I'm like the Rabbanan, and even Rabbi Yossi will agree to me. So here, so we don't have to go through either Abayee or Rava. We don't have to deal. At least in the second lashon, it's Mefarashes that you don't have to go through Rabbanan and Rabbi Yossi. They all agree here. Rabbi Yossi Amar Zeh Chayfer B'Tok Shelo V'Zeh Noite B'Tok Shelo. So here you should be Somech like Rabbi Yossi. Hani Mili Hasam De Be'idna De Kanata Lisnehu L'Sharsha. That's only because it's not Giri delay. That's why Rabbi Yossi says it's much to put the tree in. Demazki leila bor of alhaka amar le kol maru mara de kamachaisaka marafis leila arai. So here we're saying, as l'chari, it seems like it's mefurash in the Gemara according to Rava that Rabbi Yossi holds that digging the bor is giri delay. Again, Tosfos brings it down as giri delay, but Rashi says the bor is not Rabbi Yossi. It's not a case of giri delay. Rashi. So listen to who le shroshim. El soifen, the end that they will extend out 20 and 5 amas. So it's kulto bor. It's not now. Marafili shehi mara v'nada umachmas hamaka. So the ground is moving around because you're doing it. So Abayee Amar Somech. It's in the second lashon. Amari Dilishtei lashonis la'Abayee to Amar Somech in ba'echad lachvar bor la'achar mikan sarachu laharche kol shishat tefachim. So this is Tosfos here saying that you've gone right up. So what's going on here is that you've gone right up with your halal bor up to the border. Now your 3 tefachim of your kotel bor goes into the reshus of your neighbor. So now when your neighbor wants to dig a bore near your bore, he has to distance another 3 from your bore and then dig a hole. So therefore you get the 6 tefachim. Now does that make sense? So here in the Shulchan Aruch, Chayfer Bor LeTuch Sedehu Umacher Chetzi Sadeh. So this is the case of the Lokech we're going to get later. So you buy the board, you sell half of it, and he wants to do a bore. He needs laharcha kol shir harchaka afile ma'isa sulabor. So he has to do all 6. Kaven sharishim beheterosa sharei b'shaloch hoifer. So the first guy did a beheter. So here the nesivas. So reaching also. So see the sma. every marad chayfer betoch 6 tefachim mafsid lechaveru biyadayim. So the sma here, I mean, I would not learn this way. Every mara that you dig in betoch 6 tefachim mafsid lechaveru, where are you getting the 6 from? The chayes goes like Tosfos. What's wrong with you? You dig a bore and you extend the damage 3 tefachim out. So let me dig a bore 3 tefachim from your bore, and both our coattails will be mara. Will be weakened by this. And like, okay, you've already weakened the karka, and if I come in and I weaken it again, I mean, does it get weaker? Has it been weakened already? So here, I mean, the Sma saying you got to go all 6. What's all the 6? So here again, what the hell are you doing taking 3 tefachim out of my karka? So don't say I have to do all 6. Why can't I? I mean, you're telling me I'm destroying my little karka. Well, you put your koitel into my karka, so let me destroy my own karka. That 3 tefachim there, I can dig, and if I destroy my own, you're going to stop me. Do I have to give you 3 tefachim on my own thing? So you're destroying the koisel of bor. So you're like a mazik. So he's saying so that the whole 6 tefachim becomes an area of mazik. And that if I dig 5 tefachim away, I'm damaging your koisel within. I'm damaging part of your koisel.
So it needs to be 12 total.
No, it must be 6. I mean, it says betoch 6. Mafsid lechaveru biyadayim.
So it's like.
Well, if you're doing it within 6, it could be the extent of your digging goes to 3 tefachim, and therefore you're touching his bore. If you're less than 6, betoch 6 is less than 6. If you're less than 6 from the hole, so therefore you're within 3 from his koisel, and you're destroying his koisel by digging. That's basically.
That's damage that's caused by your bore goes up to.
No, caused by your digging. No.
Caused by your digging.
When you dig less than 6 from the bore, you mafsid also the kasalim shebetzedei bore. So you're destroying that 3 tefachim there. So that's like Tosfos is saying that you're destroying his koisel. You're not allowed to destroy his koisel, and that's that really. So this is the Rabbeinu Yoina, the Yesh Mefarshim. Yesh Mefarshim she'ein habeis. Marchik el gimel. He's only going to go to gimel. Well, we got a maklokas rishonim here. Afal pish Somech harishon perushos. Even if the first guy going rishos, since we're going to write later on. Yeshli 10 tam bedavar. We're going to explain why he doesn't have to distance the full 6. Lefi sheyamar hasheni. The second guy says afal pish salti simachat. So I was soivel. That's this great word in Israeli society. I was soivel that you came all the way up to the border. We talk shelo haisi miskaini because you weren't. I wasn't being damaged b'shas charif secha. I wasn't being damaged at the time when you were digging. I'm not going to destroy my leave my place, and I will only harachik 3. I only have to be distance 3. I don't have to be marchik into my 6. And that was kind of the question that the Nitibos was asking. Well, who I can say? Well, so here. Rabbeinu said, yeah, you did. B'chol nezik bori, but kadei nezik bori before the nezik of my bori, I don't have to do this. So even though I'm damaging with my bore, I don't have to be distancing into my own rishus and my harkim and things. She'ein nezik bori ila ad gimel tefachim, because the nezik of my bore is only 3 tefachim. V'shar hanezik machmas boirechi, and the rest of the nezik is because of your fault. V'regamatam is again you're also mazikani me. But it happened. So what was the benefit of you being Somech? I can't remove you from the board. You've gone there, and you're 3 go into my word. So instead of in the Mishnah, let's say you go 3 and I go 3, you're on the border and I go 3. So you saved yourself. I don't have to do any more than the Mishnah, but you saved yourself that you didn't have to go 3, and I can't remove you from the board. So well done for you. But if you want to go to the board. To the Meitzah, you want to go to the border, get mixed up in bore and border. You want to go to the border, so there, I'm just going to damage you when I get my bore 3 away, and it's up to you what you want to do. Well, it's going to stand for a few days. I was going for there. So the Ketsois here, the Tam de Abayee, the Amr Somech, the Eina Sarach Lacharche, Kak can be Somech and Lacharche, because Shabbat HaNizak, Achrokak, Lav Tama Mishom Beheter. It's when the Nizak comes after. It's not because I did it Beheter. I was there first, so I can do whatever I want Beheter. It wasn't a Heter. Kevin de Beheter, Lo Mahani, Ele Ilan, as the Maklokas Rabbi Yossi, and the Rabbanim by a tree. Ele Time de Abayee, Desfarle de Eina Lamazik Din Harchoka. Because the reason of Abayee, because he holds that it's not in the mazik the din of archaka. So that the mazik has no din of archaka, and when you say nizak is already there. So tzarech lacharachik shelo yazik. So again, this is speaking there where we saw again that one of the main reason of why you're allowed to be soimech when there's nobody there is because you're not a mazik. You're not a mazik if there's no nizak. So we've explained Abayee, or some sparas for Abayee. We haven't really touched Rava, which will come later. So we're going to Tanan. So we're going to have the Mishnah, and basically the next daf and this half Amud. This is all going to be, asking on these shitas. So Tanan. So it's got to be clear. Abayee basically Somech and Rava is law Somech, and again we're going to post like Rava. So you can't be soimech. So Tanan, lo yachbor adam bor samach le boiro shel chavero. So again, this is our Mishnah. You can't dig a bore close to the bore of your friend. So that's samach le boiro shel chavero. Tamadika bor. So therefore, if there's no bore, ha leka bor you can't be soimech. Bishlam la hak lishna da amars besadesh she'enesus le boiro divrei hakol soimech. So this is in the Ikita Amri, that's good. The Matnisn and Besada She'enasus Lepoirus. Right, so since everyone can be Soimach, so therefore the Sadeh in the Mishnah is a Sadesh She'enasus Lepoirus. So everyone agrees, Rava agrees in that case. Elahach Lishna Tamars Besadeh She'enasus Lepoirus, Pligi. So that's the first losh. And Bishlema Abayee Nicha. That's all good for Abayee. Now, Tosfos doesn't like this. La Abayee nicha. Again, the Mishnah. We're bringing it from the Mishnah. You look for Adam Boyer Samach LeBoiro Shel Chavero. Ele Imkain Harachik Mi Kaisloi Chavero. So what does Kaisel Chavero mean? Kaisel Chavero mean. This is what Tosfos is saying. Kaisel Chavero in the Mishnah is Kaisel Boiro. It's from the Halal of the boar. We didn't do this whole thing. If koisel means it's 3 tefachim, like we did before. So that Bishlam Abayee nicha, Tosfos doesn't think that's so meduyak. Ela Rava kasha. So kasha Rava, why he should be able to be soimech? Rava says no. Amar lecha Rava ha'etmar ala Amar Abayee v'itema Rav Yehuda mikotel boiro sheninu. So then so the Mishnah is saying, so this is good for Rava because you get the koisel of 3 tefachim. Therefore, it's also lismoch because you have to have the 3 tefachim away. Ikeda amri ve'itmar ala Amar Abayee v'itema Rav Yehuda mikotel boiro sheninu. So again, this is the Ikeda amri going on the Mishnah. So mikotel boiro sheninu. Therefore, you have to be marchik. Bishlema lahak lishna da amarta besada ha'usu leboiro istivrei hakol eina soimach. Because this is not telling you can't be soimach. Because even when there's because again, your friend built his bore first, and you have to be marchik from kaitel boiroi. So why he already went in 3 into his own rishus, therefore it's asr lismoch. He was there first, and he went and he distanced 3. Why did he go? If he was first, there was no one else there. Why was he? Because it's asr lismoch. So therefore, divrei kol enes samach is good. Matnisn besada ha'isuy leboirus. So he's not allowed to be soimach because he's expecting you to make a bore, so therefore he has to distance 3. Because Rava holds Einonismach. Abayee says Soimach Kasha. Amor Lacha Abayee Matnisin Shabau Lachbur Basachas. So, so Eila Abayee Kasha. Dahu Gulfa Uikim de Mikotel Boiru Shaninu. So he himself, he's the one in the Gemara that says, Amar Abayee v'im tema, Amar Abayee v'im tema Rav Yehuda mikotel borer sheninu. You can't say he disagrees with that way. He himself says in the kotel borer sheninu, V'korcha lo huskar shem koitel eila lemedur shashir koitel kadei laharchik hametzarhu. Alma avarishon chuskak laharka. So why are you distancing 3? You have to distance 3, and he has to distance 3 because you're coming at the same time. But if it was a first mover, whoever gets there first gets the zechus to do whatever he wants. But since there was no first mover, you both come at the same time. Therefore, he goes 3 and you go 3. So Tashema Sila Baba Yadayim Zechoifir Boirim Mikan V'Zechoifir Boirim Mikan Zer Marchek Shlosh Tefachim V'Sad Besid V'Zer Marchek Shlosh Tefachim V'Sad Besid. Here Baba Yadayim, the Chayyur says you do them both, and you Sad Besid, and you, even though you've distanced 3 tefachim. Now, Babi Yadayim, Karka Rach Mitrachresh Me'alav, it kind of falls apart by itself. So this Karka is very let's say it's very like sand. If you try to build a sandcastle, it just falls apart. So you have to say you can't really dig deep in sand because the walls kind of fall in on itself. So a Babi Yadayim is this Karka that just falls on itself. So there you have to distance 6. Besad besid. So that's the Chayra Kasha on Rava, because you're so Toisus here Kasha Labai. Toisus of Zay Mark again the Kasha Labai. Hachanami Shabar Lachayfer Shneim Bas Achas. So Abayee will say that they also have to. It's both when they come at the same time. Why they both being marchik? Abayee says you can be Somech. He said because they both came at the same time. Babi Yadayim Yitzchak Sakadachamina Kaven de Babi Yadayim Liboy Ravcha Tefei Kamash Malan. So Babi Yadayim, since it's such crappy land that falls to pieces, I would think I would need more than 3 Kamash Malan. Lashaloi Yitzarech Lasuke Ubabi Yadayim Yitzchak. We don't have to say it here. We don't have to have the maskana that I need to Babi Yadayim Yitzchak Shaharei Lo Heksha Klom Mi Babi Yadayim Ela Agav the Icy Brisa Mefarishla. So the Gemara in the other cases is basically saying that I need this case, that like Tosis is saying, I needed it. Babi Yadayim Liboy Ravcha Tefei Kamash Malan. So it doesn't say that in the Gemara. What does it say? Babi Yadayim shiny. Babi Yadayim is different because it falls to pieces. But the Kari La Maika Ari La, what were you even thinking when you asked it? Babi Yadayim Nishrech Leisa Kadachamina Kevin de Babi Yadayim Liboy Nami Ravcha Tefei Kamash Malan. So, Af al Harishan lacharkik, right? Ze marchik. So even the first guy comes, but also sounds like they're coming at the same time because it says Ze chayfer mekan, Ze chayfer beboyer mekan, like they're doing the same time. So Babi Yadayim shani v'takari lemad gari like Klaimar who adin afal gav de lo Babi Yadayim. So even if it's not v'hai denaka Babi Yadayim rabuta ashmin de afal gav de Babi Yadayim ein tzarich lacharkik ela shlosh tefachim. So it's only 3 for that. So it's saying here that the Iker is bringing it. It's not bringing. So lo tikshik klom. So ubabi yadayim ishrichle sheharei lo haksha klom mi babi yadayim. The kasha is not coming from babi yadayim. So as he's explaining there, it's just like, what do you even think this would be a kasha? Ila agav the icy brisa mefarish. So that here babi yadayim ishrichle is coming to, since I've already brought it, I'm explaining it doesn't answer the question, because the answer in the question is that's the answer of the question. And is just that since we brought it, we're going to explain what's going on in the brisa. Bishform de garsi time de babi yadayim, that time, so a whole different way of asking the question. Time, why are you being marked because babi yadayim? Halo babi yadayim lo. Uparech la Rava. So it's a way to see, so you could learn. There are Sfarim that Garson this is the Kash la Rava. Mishani who adin if he lo babi yadayim babi danishach le v'chule ve'ein nira l'Rabbeinu Tam lechalek le'inin heter lismoch ben babi yadayim ben lo babi yadayim. So when you have, so Rabbeinu Tam is saying that there's no reason, just because the ground is coming away, there's no reason to give a bigger heter to be Somech or not Somech. There's not a reason to distance further. So therefore, for Rava to say that, to have that Havamina, like a Kamash Malan, not like that. There's no Havamina to say that either there's a Heter Lismoch or not, says Rabbeinu Tam. I.e., you're a Mazik or you're not a Mazik. And if you're not going to be a Mazik, so therefore the fact that it's Babi Yadayim is no reason to be Marchik. V'lerinira lechalek shapir. No, it's good. Dafogav delo Babi Yadayim shari lismoch, even though it's not Babi Yadayim also lismoch. V'ikar karka mit gaveya v'noifilas karka shel sadeh chavero. So again, he's re-saying you're being a Mazik to his karka. So the karka chavero is getting all chopped up because of your digging, and therefore you are being a mazik. But Rabbeinu Tam is like you're doing whatever you want, and you're not being a mazik. So maklokas there. Tashema marchikin es kefes v'es zevel v'es ha melach v'es tzid v'es salai mikotel shel chaveru gimel tefachim. Oh sad besid. So this is the sefer we've had there. Time into ika koisel haleka koisel somech. So that's because there's a koisel there. And if you don't have a koisel, then you can be Somech. So then this will be a kasha on Rava, because the Abayee says Somech. Lo ki leke koisel nami lo yismoch lo Somech. That's Rava. Elamai kamash malan. So why does it say koisel b'klal? Ha kamash malan dahani kashu le koisel, because these are bad for the wall. So Toises here, Machikin es a gefes time at Ika Koisel perish v'kasha l'Rava. So Toises understands the Gemara. This is a kasha to Rava. Now here's where the whole sugya starts to turn here, because we just explained it according to Rava, and everything's good. V'tema my koshia haka vadai motor lismoch b'she'ein koitel. Toises is saying that according to Rava, for sure, it's mutter to be lismach when there's no kotel there. For sure, Rava agrees you can be soimech. So Tosfos is saying that there's only a machlokas in Abayee and a Rava in a case of where there's nothing on the other side. That's the machlokas. And how does Tosfos know that? Because again, all we had in the Gemara was sadeh sula boirus. You're expecting there to be a bor, or you're not expecting to have the bor. But right now, you're first. That's how I would understand. Tosfos is saying it's not like that. Why, if there's no koisel, but if I'm expecting him to build a koisel, should be aser. She'ein mazik klum. So again, Tosfos is going back to this ikar reason, and now he's saying that Rava will agree to this. This is the ikar reason of Abayee. Why are you allowed to be soimach? You're allowed to be soimach because you're not being a mazik now. Since you're not being a mazik, you can use your reshus as you want. So there's an ein mazik klum. You're not a mazik, and therefore you can go all the way. That you can be soimech. In Rava, you can be soimech, and Rava agrees to Abayee where there's no koisel. It's only when there is a koisel that's where you can't be soimech, because shachayfrim zeh lasot koitel. Now, here we're just getting into things. When you want, okay, is this true? What Tosfos is saying here? When you want him to make when the guy wants to make a koisel, so I put all my stuff right near your koisel, and when you want to make a koisel, yes, here, as a kefes, I'll take it away. No problem. Whenever you want, I'll take this away. Now, lo yachbor, and most bava basra is hichos shchenim. Now, what would you do if your neighbor was doing something that will affect your property in the future, and then he's digging a big hole? Like, I don't know, in a car park. And it's like, well, I don't have a car. And I'm like, well, like, don't dig a hole in my car parking space or whatever, or even your car parking. Don't pick a hole in the car, because if I get a car, it's going to be really difficult. So, don't worry. Once you get a car, I'll fill the hole. Everything will be wonderful. I mean, what would your response to that be?
Yeah, no chance.
Why not? No chance of what? Speak it out.
I'm not going to allow you to come dig a hole. What if you
Why not?
build the same way? What if it causes problems in the future?
I'll take care of it all. Don't worry, I'll take care of it all.
Yeah, I don't trust you.
I don't trust you? Yeah, but explain, what does that mean? I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You don't trust me what?
That there won't be any sort of future problems.
at the moment we see any future sort of problem. So here Pashas, and again, it's all like, everything you do, someone, while I wasn't there, they took something from me, and then they expected to, they'll put it back before I need it. And then obviously when I needed it, it wasn't put back. Because you have your crisis, you do what you need to do, and then you just forget about it. And then you don't put things back where they're supposed to go. That's just like life. And like, I really need my Gefes here. And like, whatever you want, I will move it. No, you won't. You're willing to agree to that right now because you really want your Gefes there. But once it's there, it could be there for a year, and then next year I build my coastal. You're not going to remove it. So this would be a time, this would be a reason for lo yismoch, even though there's nobody there, lo yismoch, because you're not going to remove it. Tosis is saying, so it's like you're a mazik now because you're not going to remove it. I don't care. You're not mazik me now, bechlal. But when you are in the future, and you're not. So can you have, like in Nachla Os, there's lots of like townhouses, and then the houses in the middle all kind of join up against each other. So there's no windows in the middle of the house. You have the windows at the front of the house. There's a street there. The windows at the back of the house. There's a street there. And then in between, because the houses are built against each other, there's like no sunlight there. Some people put like stuff in the roof and that type of stuff. There's no sunlight in the middle. So now, if I open up a window above your roof, and then you want to, so on the side of my house above your roof, if you want to then build another story, I'll say, you can't build a story because you're taking away my sunlight. So can I stop you opening up a window? If you have two stories, I have one story, and therefore you want to have a window on your second story to have the light there while I haven't built up. And as soon as you build up, then what? Then I'll lose my sunlight. Or, so says the Rabbeinu Yonah, the hevel's bad for the kotel. So because there's a machlokes as to what exactly is bad for the kotel, but here he's saying it's the heat. The Gemara didn't say. V'shmeini mihaka. The afilu nezek the metaltal eino somech la Rava. Even nezek, and this is the kind of thing that Tosis is saying, nezek that you can just remove. Rava says eino somech. V'lo amrin and yismoch. Don't say put it close by. And lekashiyamid sham chaveru koitel yisalek. And when you build up the wall there, I'll take it away. Why not? Because I'm going to get chazaka. 3 years, I'm going to put my gefes here for 3 years. Then you're going to come in 3 years, and you're going to say, put a kotel. And I'm like, good luck, I'm going to destroy your kotel because I got my gefes here, I've had it for 3 years. So I now open up a window above on the second story. 5 years later, you build the second story. I'm like, I have a chazaka here. You're not allowed to build your second story because you're going to block my light. So therefore, when I try to open up the window, says the Rabbeinu, no, you can stop him doing it, even though it doesn't matter you b'chlal right now, because you're going to get a chazak in the future. Therefore, lo yismoch. So this would be a shita in Rava, lo yismoch, even though the guy's not there. There's nothing on the other side. There's no hezek right now. There's no hezek, but because you're going to get a chazaka, so therefore, lo yismoch now. So I would just say, as a corollary to this, is that once you put your gefes there and you say you're going to remove it, you're just not going to remove it when the time comes. If you start digging holes in public properties, don't worry, when it's a problem, I'll take it away. No, you won't. So like I'm worried about you, doing stuff. And we'll see later, we'll say, hey, it's okay, dude. Just take me to Beis Din. We'll go to Beis Din, I'll be fine, and I'll lose in Beis Din and you'll win, and Shalom al Yisrael. You've got nothing to worry about. So we'll see that later. So Tosis is quite happy with this. Whenever you want to make a koitel, he'll remove the gefes. So Tosis doesn't care about the chazaka. We'll have to see why. So Tosis he's not worried about chazaka. He's not worried about. He's actually not going to do it. No, they're actually makal the karka now. You're a mazik now. The yazik lekoitel lekashabi the koitel will be damaged when you can build in the future because I'm damaging the karka now. Afilu shuv yisur. Even if then later on you remove it, then it's And then you're damaging the karka now, so the yisoidos of the koisel are getting damaged now. You remove the kefes when I build the koisel, now the koisel garua because it's on crappy yisoidos because you put it on now even though you did remove it. Oh, it's a tircha to remove it, besilkalta to remove it, so also now, so again this is pshat in Rava, yeah? So we're going to pshat in Rava, because if there's no... Rav is holding now. He's saying lo somech. Why lo yismach? So ma'ata. So now you can be yakev alav ki yesh lochush. What do we lochush? Shema lo yemaher lesalko kushi yirtze lasot koito. Now Taisus just says lo yemaher. He won't do it quickly. I mean, I would say he won't do it at all, unless you're saying I'll do it in 10 years. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it in 10 years. I'll do it when you take me to Beis Din. So he won't. So Taisus he is choishesh of the guy not being, wonderfully quick and taking it all away. So I can stop him now, because either it's a mazik now, because even if it's not a mazik now, I can stop you now because maybe you won't take it out immediately. I want to go now, right? Right now I want to build a wall. No, I'm busy. I've got a bar mitzvah. I'll do it. So you're not being miyakev. It's just you're just not going to do it now. So there. So Taisus, so here we have a svara for Rava that the guy's just not going to remove it. So therefore, I can stop him doing it. Even though you're not being Somech. Now, if we have a look at the Rosh. So Rabbi Yoina, Tiris, the Chai Shemi Yachzik, B'smichas Devarim Halalu, Shalosh Shanim, V'yaton Chazaka. So here he's bringing the Rosh, is bringing the Rabbeinu Yonah. Nami time of Rava. That's the time of Rava. So Rava is saying that you're going to get the 3 years on the Chazaka. Because you can't be Somech in the Sadeh B'Rosh. Amrin Yismoch Ata because Sheboy Chaveru Lachbor Boiru Somech Lo Yisalek Boiroi. So he'll just remove his bore. Why don't you say just dig a bore right on the Meitzor? If you come to dig a bore, so I'll move my bore. Shalosha, surely 3 tefachim. Tachashim Shema Acher Shaloshanim Yitor Chazaka. Yemeshibrashu Samoch. So there you see he has to make a taina. The Chazaka needs a taina. The ein leimer just from a kol mara of Amara. So it's not because of the mazik now. The high time and lo tzarech leRava. Eile leRabbi Yossi, because the time of kol mara of Amara he only needs for Rabbi Yossi, and not aval Rabbanan below high time and marchik. But for the Rabbanan, because even without it, you have to be marchik. We took zeh daktak. The ein adam rashai leftoch chalon lechorvoto shel chavero. So again, the chorvoto is like the guy's got a plot of land that's in ruins right now. So I'm saying it's like the second story of a one-story house. It's not being built yet. So you can't open up a window there. Lefi sheyochol loimer lo shema tachzik alai. Because he can say, maybe he's going to take a chazaka on me. Because she'emloch livnot chaverti. So when I want to turn my lot into a nice house, or I want to build my second floor, that's going to be hezekriya on me. The gam tizkeni leharchik arba amos mikeneget halach, and furthermore, you're going to force me to be distancing 4 amos away from your illegal window. So you're going to completely screw me over. So that's all the shittas of the Rabbeinu Yoina ve'ein devram nirin li. So the Rosh rejects this and he says, don't be silly. It's not the reason. The im isa the mutelismuch gefes kashe'ein sham koisel. Because if it was mutter to be Somech the gefes when there's no kaifel in the bor Somech lameitzer lo yechol leton chazaka la'olam, that you would never get a chazaka there. Kevin de ein mazik lo ata ve'ein yechol limchos. Since you're not damaging now, there's no mochot to make. The chol mochem she'ein yechol limchos ein chazaka. Because whenever there's no place for a mochol, there's no chazaka, as we see later on in Cheskes the bottom. So therefore, if I open up a window over, like on my second floor, over your first floor, I'm not mazikin you now. Since I'm not mazikin you now, even if I'm there for 10 years, I can't get a chazaka because I'm not mazikin you now. Therefore, you can't make a mochol. Since you can't make a mochol because I'm mazikin you, there I can't get a chazaka because you never have a makom for a mochol. So Rabbeinu Yon is saying that you'll get a chazaka 3 years. And Rosh says there is no mokum to get a chazaka. You can do whatever you want. When you're Somech, you can never get a chazaka there because you're not damaging, and therefore you can't get the chazaka. There is no chazaka to get. So again, he's going. The Rosh going with Toysas Shita. Again, saying that you are. It's the mazik. The Eker Tam of Somech is mazik, and therefore, since I'm not mazik, you can be Somech and you never get a chazaka. So here's the Nesivus. It's actually in Kuf Nun Dala, the previous Siman. Everything else is in Kuf Nun Hey. So after other Nezikin, you can be Somech, but Deleka Davar Hanizak. So again, here he's poskening like this Toisvis, and again we're halach is like Rava. So here he's saying you can yocholismoch, but like a davar hanizak. So according to Rava, that's not true. But here, like Toisvis, it is. Because you can say I don't want to make him in to go to Beis Din, because he can force him after that to remove it. So let's go. It's going to Shulchan Aruch, basically saying that other things you are allowed with no nizak. But here, where you can remove him when Beis Din, you can't do it now. So why don't we say, well, in the future, just take him to Beis Din, and then you'll leave it. So again, we got the two things here. There's no davar nizak, and there's not a big toreach to remove it, like Toysis says. Hatamhu desham oisa bishalo, because man she'en chaveru nizak al yado yichol lasot bishalo ma she'yirtza. So he's doing it. So in the other cases, you're doing it in your own, and you can do in your own whatever you want. So here, you're getting hana from the heir of your friend. And it's only because of the midas Sodom that you can be yochel. So I think this is opening up a window into his churban. So there, so again, you're getting hana from Mayavi or whatever. And so you're nana and I'm not chaser, so therefore that's called that you're being over al midas Sodom. Rak mishum dahavi ze nana v'ze lo chaser koifen al midas Sodom. V'keven yisrak lemekem imo bedina. But here, since in order to kick you out, I have to go to Beis Din. V'dina ein lecha chaser gadol mizeh. There's no chaser bigger than having to go to Beis Din. So that's called. So if in the future I can take you away by going to Beis Din, and I'll win in Beis Din, that's at such a level of chaser. He says ein chaser gadol mizu. So then you're opening up now. So again, I open up my window. I open up my window on the second floor. You say stop that because you're going to get a chazaka. I'm like, no, the Rosh says I won't get a chazaka. Just take me to Beis Din. I'll be fine. I'm nana. You're not chaser. So here he says, no, the fact that I have to take you to Beis Din in the future when I want to build my second wall, that's called chaser. That's called chaser now, and therefore you're not allowed to open your window now, even though this is like Somech. Somech, when there's no bore there, and you're not doing this, there's no nizak. That's not okay, because I have to take the base in the future. That's called zenene, the zechoser, and therefore I can stop you doing it. So there are kind of the reasons of Rava as to why, even though there's no nizak, you still are stopping him from lo yismoch, because there's basically a tircha to remove the guy, even though there's no nizak, so therefore you should be able to somech. So it's kind of ideas of how there is a nizak. So the imtema akati my parach la Rava. So still, what are we asking on Rava? So we already have one chiddush in Toysis. Toysis has said that Rava, when there's no nizak, Rava agrees to Abayee and you can be Somech. Again, how that filters through the poiskim, again you can look through Kuf Nun Hey and Kuf Nun Dalet. So now we're going to have another big chiddush in Rava, and we're really going to have to wait to see how this plays out later in the sugya. Ha mefarish taimen la'ayo mishom dekol mara v'mara debechamachs mevras la'arai. So Rava is only disagreeing with Abayee in a sadeh bor. That since with the bor, when you dig the bor, there is when you you weaken the ground, and that's where Rava says lo yismoch. Rava is not talking about lo yismoch in any other case except for bor. It says Tosis here. I'm gonna have to see later whether it is. It's only by bor you can't be soimach. Because Rava, here Tosis is saying Rava agrees to Abayee on every case except for bor. And even in the terrace, if you look at the terrace, so that's only according to Rabbi Yossi. Yeah, but Rabbi Yossi is halacha. So since Rava and Rabbi Yossi is halacha, so therefore Rava doesn't say this din except for borus, except for sadeh bor. Because here we're asking the question from the Gefes. And Tosis is saying, Akatzi mai parach, what's even this question on Rava? Has it got to do with the Gefes? Who cares about Gefes? Because I only care about Kol Maramar, it's Giri delay. The Gefes isn't Giri delay. Vahaka lo parach ela liba de Rabbanan. So since Rava is going in both shitas, the Gemara here, says Tosis, is only asking on the side of the Rabbanan, because there is no kasha from Rabbi Yossi. There's no kasha from Rabbi Yossi, but there's still a kasha from the shitas of the Rabbanan. And that's the question here. Again, so Rava could answer, I'm going like Rabbi Yossi, I'm not going like Rabbanan, even though he's already said, you see, he's already said I'm going like both. So he has to have every mission, every price going like both. And this is a kasha only coming from Rabbanan. But here, Tosis is saying that Rava is Asr Lismoch, is only with a bor, and therefore by Gefes is mutter lismoch. This is what he's saying here. Im tema kate mai parech leRava. What's the question on Rava? From Gefes. Yes, we said that his whole reason is only because of digging a bor. So I think we'll see this in the long Tosasim in Yud Ches Amud Beis, but keep that in mind.